Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me too in my next ranger guide on Black Desert. My name is Wilkie and today we're going to talk about a skill build that is usable at level 55 and more overly my skill build. I'm not exactly sure how many skill points I have used in total. I estimate around 750. I'll put the actual numbers into the description and the video title after I recreate the build in a calculator. But yeah, we're just gonna start over talking over pretty much basic skills, I guess. And yeah, we're just gonna start from the top. Now, first things first, this skill build I made was before Ranger got nerfed, so this is obviously why you see me having bow skill maxed. But yeah, I'm basically just too stingy and too lazy to get a skill reset, because I have a decent amount of skill points, so I don't really have any major issues right now. But regardless of that, starting from the top, bow skill is no longer mandatory. The reason for that is, the reason we took this skill to the max was to make our lives easy grinding in the way we were spamming Evasive Explosion Shot and then using LMB, and that AoE was boosted by bow skill. Now, the AoE is still boosted by bow skill. The damage is not really good anymore. Like, it used to be very, if not the best farming tool for rangers. Now it's not anymore. That meaning, taking bow skill is no longer mandatory. It still increases your auto attack, it still increases the the arrows shot from the horseback, like the regular LMB ones. However, it's not longer anything that helps ranger boost the leveling speed significantly. So if you don't have enough skill points and you rather want to max something else, don't max bow skill anytime soon, or don't max it at all. Like I said, I maxed it because I did the build before it got nerfed. Afterwards, I'd probably not rank up bow skill at all anymore. Now, Dagger Protection, even though it got buffed, I don't really see the point of that in PvP, so I wouldn't take it. Moving Shot, same, it's a good tool for pulling in PvE. For PvP, I don't see the use of that. Flow, Breath of Air, nah. I never really use Charging Wind, to be honest. I don't see the usage of that in PvP, so I wouldn't take that passive. Now, SP Charging Wind or Ultimate Charging Wind, I think this is an overrated shotgun skill. Some people do like to keep this one, because if you don't rank it up to the SP version, you can still use the Awakening on it. However, you're gonna lose out on damage, so for me, the choice was SP Charging Wind. If you have a decent Awakening and you'd rather like playing with that version, I see some people, even at 55, not ranking this skill up. In terms of raw damage, nothing beats the SP, so at least get this one. Presumably, most people will probably aim for the SP version as well. Now, the passive is an automatic buy. Crescent Kick can be nice for PvE. I don't really see the usage in PvP at this point, so I didn't take it. Flow Pinpointing Gust 1. This one is good. If you use Pinpointing Gust and you hit it, you can press Q to use Blasting Gust. Using it in this way will also knock down people, so it's a good way to shoot Blasting Gust quickly. It's a personal choice. Like, I don't see a major increase if you were just to use it regularly, so it's a personal choice. Can be good, is not really necessarily. I like it, so I took it. But if you just use Blasting Gust by pressing Q and waiting for the wind up for the circular charge, it's perfectly fine as well. Now, Razor Wind. Now keep in mind, as I said, this one is only really good for PvE. I never use this for PvP, so the reason I took so many ranks or skill points in it, and I will probably get the ultimate as well, is because it's a very good tool for boss hunting. It's a very easy tool. It in most cases returns more MP than you used on casting it, which means basically if you were to spam Razor Wind on a boss, you need very few to no mana potions at all, which makes our life as a ranger a lot easier in boss fights. It's not the best in terms of DPS, but it's constant DPS, it's easy DPS, it's very relaxing, and like I said, it's probably the best in terms of mana sustain. So if you have the skill points and you have everything else maxed, for PvP that is, or PvE for that matter, depending on what your focus is. Razor Wind is good for stationary targets that don't hit you or don't hit you very often. Pinpoint, if you like that skill, you can opt in to rank it up. At rank 3, it'll fire 3 arrows, and it's a very good tool to return some MP for the cost of stamina, which is the reason I don't really use it, because there's other ways to get back your MP as well. So I don't really see the point of making that a rank 3 skill. But if you like, and if you use it a lot, you can easily get this up and return some more MP as well. Now, Charging Kick 1, the reason I took this skill because it allows me to use Flow, Call from Sky, which is the jump iframe, a lot easier. So instead of using the forward dash and jumping, you can simply press forward F and spacebar, and it'll execute the jump as well. So it's a very easy alternative, and the first rank costs like almost no points at all. So it's a very good alternative to have. Now, Ultimate Evasive Shot, this one's an no-brainer, obviously take it. Flow, Sharp Feather, only take it if you plan on cancelling Penetrating Wind. If you don't, or only use it as a knockdown, you don't need that passive at all. Now, Evasive Explosion Shot, as said prior in the baseline video, if you have the skill points and the mana sustained, you can rank it up. I don't really recommend doing it, because I still think it's better to have it more spammy, and more in the terms of I can spam it more often. It's a personal choice though, both ways work. What you shouldn't be taking is Riding the Wind. That skill is not really worth it. You can basically replace it with another dash in midair, and also it consumes 200 stamina, which is quite a lot, so I don't really recommend taking it. Flow, Call from Sky, as talked about with the Charging Kick. This is the only real iframe we have at this point, so definitely take it and get used to it. Once we get the Awakening, that'll change, but at this point, this is really your only bet to get an iframe and dodge certain things. Round Kick is there from the start. Now, Tearing Arrow 1. I have Tearing Arrow 1 because I like to use it for the cancel into Penetrating Wind. If you don't use that way, or you use Razor Wind to cancel into Penetrating Wind, and you don't like Tearing Arrow at all, you don't have to take it at all. The thing is, this skill has a bleeding and a slow, which can be pretty handy, and even at the rank 3 or even ultimate, at fully charge, it kinda hits a lot. The thing is, it's a very, very dangerous skill to use, and there's very, very few applications where you can actually freely charge it to the maximum. It can be useful, it can be devastating. It's a sort of niche skill, so many rangers will not take it. Also because there's usually a shortage on skill points. But if you like using it and you find the way to use it into your daily PvP life, in 1v1 situations it's most likely never going to be used. But in a group fight, or if you sneak up onto an enemy, this one can be a very viable option to surprise snipe people or even instigate people with a fully charged one. Flow, Kiss of the Wind is the passive that you use to cancel Razor Wind or Tearing Arrow to Penetrate the Wind to have it as a knockdown. Definitely take it. Blasting Gust 3, I think this is a no-brainer. Main damage source for cancelling, good for MP restoration. Will of the Wind, same here. High DPS, very good if you can sustain the mana, especially good in Red Battlefield where you have the big mana potions. You can easily wreck people within 2 seconds, and like a large crowd of people as well. Hits quite hard, can be very dangerous if you can sustain it. Penetrating Wind, as I said, I like it a lot for both cancellings, range DPS, and a knockdown. It's good to snipe people with, so I think it's a definite boost in your skill set as a ranger. Can be tricky to use and has to, well, you have to kind of get used to how that skill works, because it's not something you can fire off quickly, because there is either a requirement that you will have to hit an enemy first, or you simply have to stand still. So also it takes quite a bit of mana, so kinda tricky to use. Ultimate Descending Current, mostly used for sieges or large PvP battles, can be good if used in a group. In a solo fight, not really that good. Can be used to farm titles on low-level mobs, or if you continue or like catching up on low-level quests. This skill is actually pretty good to farm. Other than that, it can also be used for world bosses to keep firing at them from the safe distance, which usually is kinda what people want if they have experience to lose. But then again, like I said, if you have the skill points to max it, max it. Remember though, this skill is only good if you get the ultimate version. If you don't have the ultimate version, any of these skills will not do very good. So please, either take rank 1, don't take it at all, or max it all the way. Now for passive, as I said, Spirit Healing. I like it a lot because I use auto attacks a lot. Not a necessary skill if you need the skill point somewhere else. Don't max it. Call of the Earth, same thing here. If you have the skill points left to max it, it's a good accuracy boost. However, I recommend just keeping it at 1, simply 3% is okay, but it can also be used for cancelling, and it's something you may want to opt in to use later at some point. Infinite Mastery, I think this one is a no-brainer because, yeah, more HP is always good because it not only boosts our survivability, it also boosts our damage, so there's absolutely no reason not to take the HP passive. Now I think that is pretty much all for the skill build I'm currently using. As I said, bow skill is not mandatory anymore. Razor Wind, Tearing Arrow, these are the ones that are kinda personal choice and preference. So pick one that suits your playstyle. Don't try to mix them. Like if you focus on one of these, it's better than trying to max one first rather than getting everything up, because like Razor Wind before rank 3 and even before rank 4 basically, it doesn't really deal that much damage, and you can see the scaling jump from 154 to 223, which is a pretty large jump if you ask me, whereas before that it jumps around what, 137, 138, that's almost no jump. And then the scalings do increase quite a lot, as well as the number of arrows, so the higher you get the skills, the better they usually are. So whenever you have the time, try to focus on one skill at a time. Anyways, I think that's all about my skill build. Like I said, I'll make the skill calculator one as well, and I'll give you the exact number of skill points I currently have used. So you can use that as a baseline. Like I said, this is the way I play, so it may not reflect the way you're playing your ranger or you want to play the ranger, and that is perfectly fine. So pick whatever suits your playstyle best, and don't worry about, like, getting skill points isn't actually that hard. It just takes a bit of time, but if you dedicate yourself and you grind every day for a few hours, getting the skill points going isn't that hard. Anyways, like I said, thank you for joining me to my current skill build video. If you have any questions or anything else, feel free to let me know, and yeah, hopefully I see you guys next time on a different guide or other Black Desert video.